So in 2018, I gained a much better understanding of who we are as a company and what we need to focus on. And in 2019, just continued to grow on that. So in 2018, we came to this understanding of needing to grow up rather than out, and that what we are good at, what we want to be great at, are being educators and coaches. And in 2019, and then looking beyond 2019, that is our goal. Our first step in doing that was working with Garrett Blevins to develop the Juggernaut AI systems for powerlifting, power building, weightlifting, what will be coming with super total, sport performance, all kind of stuff. And I first met Garrett, I think in very late 2017, and he first presented this idea of what he was doing with his own coaching system, with Sky, what he calls Skynet. He presented this idea to me and sort of said, would you be interested in doing this as well? And at the time, it was just not the time for me to do that. We had a lot of other changes going on with the business, but it did sort of spark this idea in me about systematizing everything, and that in conjunction with having been asked so many times at seminars, how do I find my MRV? It was that first meeting with Garrett, and then kind of getting sick of people asking that question and me giving them answers of, well, this raises your MRV. If you're taller, if you're heavier, that lowers your MRV. If you're stronger, that lowers it. If you're more a beginner, that probably raises it. So on and so forth. With all those types of questions, it spurred me to, all right, instead of giving the theory, behind the principles that affect the volume landmarks, minimum maintenance volume, minimum effective volume, maximum adaptive volume, maximum recoverable volume, rather than just giving people the information, the idea that these things lower it, these things raise it. I wanted to give them the answer that they wanted more, which is what are the specific numbers for these different phases. And that was the impetus in creating the Juggernaut AI powerlifting system, and really, what allowed it to be possible was creating a true, like a scale, a magnitude of how much does height matter, how much does body weight matter, how much does experience matter, strength matter, lifestyle factors matter, and that's what spurred the creation of it into what I think is an extremely effective system. And that's not just my opinion, it's very clearly evidenced by the results that we're having lifters to make 2,000 plus pound totals, using it. I think 2145, I believe off the top of my head, is the biggest total that's been made by one of the AI lifters. But multiple 800 pound squats, 800 pound deadlifts, people finishing on the podium at USAPL Nationals using this system. And it was a really fun, though sometimes tedious exercise for me as a coach, because so many things that are thought to be of like artistic decisions to coaching, or intuitive decisions to coaches, they really aren't. They're all logical decisions, whether the coach understands that it is or not, or whether they have a real system behind the logic of that decision. They're looking at an athlete, and because the athlete is one way or another, or they perform a certain way, or they have a good result or bad result, they're hopefully making a reaction to those circumstances based on a series of principles that they hold as a coach. So to have to justify all of those decisions, and I can't just say, well, I feel that it should happen this way, or this is how we've always done it. Those are not good enough for the system to understand. So I had to categorize everything and give these levels of magnitude of importance to all these different individual factors. And what does it mean to have strong legs and a weak back, or vice versa? They couldn't be subjective anymore. They had to become objective. So that was a very interesting challenge for me to do, and then I know for Max to do for weightlifting, as a lot of the decision making there was even more complex. And in creating the Juggernaut AI systems, our real goal is to provide quality programming for an affordable price to as many people as possible. Because if I was to go through the series of decisions and intricacy that the AI system does, if I was to do that for every single person I work with, there's not enough time in the day and not enough energy in me as a person to go ahead and do that, and definitely the amount of time it would take would not be, it would become very cost prohibitive for the athlete. So I think this allows you to get as close to the one-on-one program design that Max and I could give, the best of it, but at a very, very affordable price. And that's something we're excited about. Of course, as business people, it's the main, product of the Juggernaut business now, but as much as I can say, it's really, so because it's a profit-making endeavor, I don't know that I could call it altruistic, but truly that is our goal, is we see people just doing bullshit programs, whether it's they're doing that because of a lack of understanding of what is truly good and effective, or they're doing it because they're being marketed to in such a way that they think a template or a program with a name with fixed sets and reps can be the most effective thing for them. We want to change the way that people think about programming. So rather than thinking, well, this is a good beginner program or a good intermediate, or you have to be advanced to do that program, that's not the case. The principles, the scientific principles of strength training, which we've talked so much about in the book and in the videos, those guide all programs for everyone. And the programming doesn't differ by type between beginner, intermediate, advanced, male, female, short, average, tall, light, medium, heavyweight. It it adjusts by the magnitude of how those principles are applied, and that's what we are striving to do to help athletes better understand what is effective for them today, what can be effective for them 6 months from now, a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when they're beginners, when they're intermediate, when they're advanced, when they're light, when they're heavy, when they're in high stress periods of their life or lower stress periods, and create a system that adjusts to all those factors and grows with the athlete. Other things that we're doing now and that we want to continue to do into 2020 and beyond is help support athletes towards their goals. Athletes like Alyssa Ritchie, as she pursues the Olympics, that's been something that's a great source of pride for us to be able to help her along that process. Not just with the coaching that Max provides her, but the support that we provide for her so she can dedicate more time to that. We want to be able to do that with more athletes like her in this next quad as we look beyond 2020 towards the 2024 Olympics. And I think the biggest thing is that we aim to equip coaches and athletes with the knowledge they need to succeed. Going back several years when we started making a lot of content, back to 2013, 2014 kind of time, I said that my goal is to provide content that gives athletes and coaches the tools to get better at ... If they want to get better at powerlifting, they want to get better at weightlifting. If it's coaches, it's athletes, it's physical therapists, it's high school coaches, it's gym owners, that we want to equip them with the knowledge they need to improve and succeed. And while that may never be the sexiest thing, it is always going to be something that's needed and valued, and that's the most important thing to me. When 2019 began, I remember writing the date for one of the first times and thinking 2019, that's significant for some reason, and it didn't even occur to me going into the year that this was the 10th anniversary of Juggernaut. So to think back, to 10 years ago and getting the keys to to that first dusty warehouse, and Nate and I going in, and the first day spending about 10 hours straight just with just mopping up all this dust and getting dust off the ceiling beams, and my neck being sore for 4 days because we were looking straight up at these beams while we brushed them off. That seems like 10 lifetimes ago, not just 10 years ago, because there's so much that has happened for the company, for myself personally, since then. To now think forward 10 years, where if you asked me in 2009 what I thought we were going to be doing in 2019, it would have been unimaginable to me then that we do what we do now, from a technology standpoint, from getting to travel around the world to teach people how to squat, bench, and deadlift. That we've been to to different continents and so many different states to do that and reach so many people. I would have never imagined it then, and I'd like to think it would be amazing in 2029 to look back at 2019 and think, wow, I had no idea that this is what we've been doing then, but I'd at least like to think that we can have some better direction at this point, because and that in 2029 we'll be able to look back at these upcoming 10 years and have helped so many more people understand training better, have supported so many more athletes towards their goals and dreams, to have brought so much more helpful content to people, and to really be leaders in this industry, not just leaders in terms of creating innovative products like the AI coaching, but also leaders in terms of doing it right. We had a 10th anniversary party for Juggernaut this year, and at it I said that the thing that I'm most proud of in the last 10 years is not the PRs, is not the necessarily the books or the seminars or anything like that. It's that I truly honestly feel that we do this right, that we don't try and sell gimmicks, that I've never claimed to be the best marketer, but that people enjoy Juggernaut content and they engage with us because they trust us, because we give it to them straight. We are principled about the information that we provide and in the way that we provide it. And I know I'll continue to be proud of that for the next 10 years. So hopefully you've enjoyed this series, Juggernaut X. If you haven't watched all of them and you got a couple hours extra, go back, watch from 2009 on. They're all up on the podcast feed as well. I'm excited for the next 10 years, for 2020 and beyond. It's been a great 2019, and we had some other competitive successes late in this year. Another American record for the weightlifters, a team championship at the American Open. And I'm excited for the next 10 years. I'm proud of the previous 10 years, and hopefully you'll be there with us along the way. Thank you.